Planning a trip to Punta Cana can be overwhelming, especially as a first-timer. But I promise you that this video will change this, because I'm going to present you 8 actionable tips you can apply right now, and you can even follow in a checklist which will take your stress and anxiety away. Plus, I have a checklist for you which you can download, and like this you can tick off step by step all the things you need to prepare before your trip. So let's come with me and have a look at this super helpful video for you and for your travel preparation. Hey, my name is Chris. I'm the author of Punta Cana travel blog, and I'm here to help you planning your trip. I have years of experience in Punta Cana. I worked in the industry for over a decade. I've lived in the country for several years, and I've visited more than 45 or even 50 all-inclusive resorts in Punta Cana. So I know all the travel hacks, all the resort hacks, and I want to share them with you. So let's start right now, or let's start right with the first point, which is the e-ticket. So you need to fill this out before your trip. This is something which a lot of people don't know, even though it's written in a lot of places. In the meantime, usually the airlines send you an email. On my blog, it's written in a lot of times in the Facebook group and everywhere. But still, I see it every day that people are getting, that even they don't know it, or they are getting scammed because they go to the wrong site. So the first important thing, the e-ticket is mandatory. You have to fill it out before your trip, and it will be linked to your passport. It is basically kind of a digital immigration card. You don't get the paper card anymore you used to get in at the plane. So you basically fill it out before online, and that's it. It's no more immigration stuff. This is why if you don't have it, it can happen that you get that boarding, or that you get denied boarding. So this is why it's super important to do it. You can do it 0 to 90 days before your trip. Sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. There's not really a strict rule, but just take this as a general guideline. The second important thing, the e-ticket is free, so please don't pay for the e-ticket. The official page, I will put it in the comments as well, and you can see it here as a screenshot, is eticket.migracion.gov.do. This is the official government website. So don't fall for any of the scam websites which pretend to be the official website, but then they charge you at the last step. If you're getting asked credit card details, this is a big no-no. So again, it's mandatory and it's free. If you want to know more about the e-ticket, I have a separate video about it, how to avoid those scams. I try to link it here. I hope it's possible. So you can watch it after finishing this video and learn more how to not get scammed and how to fill it out. I also show you step by step how to fill out the e-ticket. Number 2 is organizing your airport transfer. It's important to do it before, because like this you can start your holiday with ease of mind. You don't have to worry about like taxi drivers, or about negotiating a price, or about if you get picked up or not. Organizing your trip or your airport transfer in before is very important. Mainly because like the taxi drivers at the airport can be a little bit pushy, and it can be overwhelming when you arrive, and you probably also don't want to negotiate. And that's why, especially if you book one with great reviews, which is reputable, which is safe, which is reliable, it takes a lot of stress out of your trip. You can do this easily from at home. I will link you also a recommendable transfer in the comments, even though it also depends where you go, because obviously transfer rates vary depending if you go to Barbaro, to Bayahibe, to Mitches, to Vero Alto. So this depends a little bit. But as I said, book it in advance. So this will take away all the stress, and you have something in your hands where you can arrive at the airport and say, hey, here's my airport transfer, and this will waiting for you, usually with a sign in your hand. Or if not, then check your voucher details. Sometimes it also says, please go to counter 16, for example, and present yourself, and there you will find your driver. Tip number 3 is spare swimwear. If you are packing your swimsuits, your bikini, your pants for swimming, take 1 or 2 more than you might think than you think you might need. The reason is that Punta Cana is a tropical destination. It's very humid, especially if it's raining, then it can be wet as well, and things are not drying like you are used to it from home. This means probably if you're going for a swim today, doesn't matter if in the ocean or the pool, you hang up your swim suits at the balcony or wherever, it's probably not dry the next day. And it even can be not dry in 2 days. So that's why take one more, and this will be much more comfortable. And this is something which what many travelers are also recommending after the trip, when you ask them, hey, what did you not bring but you would have loved to do it? And this is one of the answers. Number 4 is sunscreen and a hat, especially because the sun is very, very intense in the Caribbean. Even if you're used to it, maybe from other vacations or from Florida or from somewhere else, please bring enough sunscreen and a hat. The hat is important, especially if you love to be in the pool or the ocean during the midday, because actually you should avoid being there, like let's say between 11 and 2, at least for a longer time. Of course, you can walk in the sun for a couple of minutes, you can be getting from A to B or whatever. But if you are staying, let's say 2 hours in the pool bar and you stay in the plain sun, this will be pretty heavy for your body, and it can come with dehydration and all the other things. So at least protect yourself, please, with a hat. Your body and your head will be very thankful for this. And the second thing is sunscreen. Of course, you probably already have sunscreen in your bags, or you have it already on your list to pack it. But the important thing here is pack more than you think you might need. I'm reading so many travelers' comments that they would have loved to bring more sunscreen, and then they would have had to go to the resort shop and buy more sunscreen, and this is really expensive. Usually there it's like $30-40 a bottle. So bring a bottle more from home, and then if you don't need it, you take it for your next vacation or you give it to other travelers, and then you're definitely all set, and you don't have to go to the overpriced resort shop. This is also another thing you can see in another video where I'm telling you the things which you should not forget, because otherwise you would have to buy it in the overpriced resort shop. So check out this video here. I also try to link it in the corner. If it's not possible, I put it in the comments. You know, YouTube does not always do the things I want. So check out this video, especially when you're packing. So that's super important as well. Number 5 is money. Of course, you always probably leave your house with money. That's not a question, but the question which often comes is what kind of money I should take and how much and what kind. So first of all, most of the money you need is probably for tipping. I know people love to tip, and your tips are much, much appreciated. So for tipping, it comes in really handy if you have small bills, $1 bills, $5 bills, and $10 bills. Tipping with $50 bills or $100 bills is a bit complicated, and sometimes might also be complicated to get small change in Punta Cana, even though I've heard from other travelers that they just went to the reception and they got it, but I would not take it for granted. So take a lot of $1 bills, $5 bills. You even can go to your bank or to the supermarket as well and ask for a pack of 50 $1 bills or 100 $1 bills. This should not be a problem. If talking about other things to pay, and then you might have the question, how much should I take? Obviously, this depends on you. This depends how much you want to spend, what you want to do. As a general guideline, excursions usually can be paid by credit card, especially if you book them online, or if you book them with your resort app, or if you book them with reputable companies. The only time basically you have to pay excursions on spot with cash if you book with the beach vendors, which is kind of a little bit of tricky issue, which I would not recommend for first timers. So this is not something you have to factor in. The same as all the services in the resort, like the spa, like the resort shop, like extra service, you can pay them all by credit card. So you would only need cash if you leave your resort and go, for example, to smaller independent souvenir stores, or if you want to buy something on the street or things like this. So most of the cash you will need is tipping money. Tipping money. And then the other question is, should you bring dollars or Dominican pesos, which is the local currency? Also here, as a general guideline, US dollars are absolutely fine, especially if you're just planning a resort holiday. The US dollars are accepted at the resort as a tip, also in basically all the shops in Punta Cana. So you really only need Dominican pesos if you venture out in really local or rural areas where there are not many tourists are going. But for your day-to-day basically resort and all-inclusive business, US dollars are absolutely fine. Very important, if you like those kind of tips, please subscribe to the channel, please comment below, give it a like to give the YouTube algorithm a little boost, because this will help me and this will motivate me to make more videos for you, more videos for your trip, more videos that you can get more travel hacks. And also, if you have any questions which is not included here in the video, just write it in the comments. I'm happy to reply. So please get in touch with me and subscribe to the channel. Another thing you shouldn't forget is the online check-in, especially if you're flying with a low-cost carrier like Frontier Airlines, Spirit Airlines, Arajet, and maybe someone else in the future. You know, airlines are always changing their policies. Some airlines require online check-in, otherwise you have to pay at the airport. So that's why it's important to check your airline ticket, check your conditions. Also, if your ticket doesn't include baggage, and you know that you will take checked baggage to the airport, it's usually better to buy it in advance, as it will be cheaper than paying for it at the airport. So as I mentioned, you can get this checklist as a helpful download. If you want to do this, there are just basically two requirements. First, please subscribe to the channel. This would be super helpful for me. And then the second thing is, please send me a message so that I can send it to you. The message should include your username at YouTube so that I can verify that you're subscribed. You can send me the message either here on YouTube. I think this should be possible if you write me first. I can't send you a message. Alternatively, you can send me a Facebook message, or the easiest thing is go to my website and use the contact page. I'm putting the link down here in the comments. It's the About Me page, and at the bottom you have a contact form where you just can send me an email and say, hey Chris, I saw your YouTube video, please send me the 8 helpful tips download, or the helpful checklist download. Just mention something like this and I will get what you want, and I will send you the email right away. Number 7 is checking the validity of your passport. This is also super important, as I've read a couple of dozen times, that people just 2 days before their trip, probably when they got their passport out of the document safe, or out of the board, wherever they store their passport at home, they saw, oops, my passport is expiring in 2 months. And this can be a problem. So check it long before that your passport is valid for at least 6 months. This is important because usually this is the requirement, and you can be denied boarding if this is not the case. If it's still a long time to go, let's say you still have 3 months to go to your Punta Cana trip, but you see that your passport is only valid for, let's say, 1 more month after your trip, then I would recommend getting a new passport, because then you're on the safe side. If you realize like 2 days before your trip, oh, oops, my passport is not valid anymore, then check the current regulations, because sometimes, and this is currently the case until at some point of 2025, sometimes there's also an exception in place that the passport only needs to be valid a couple of days after the trip. But the usual requirement is 6 months after the trip, so 6 months after your departure. As I said, currently there's an exception, so it wouldn't be a problem, but it's better to be on the safe side, so please check your passport and the current passport requirements. And number 8, and this is the last tip here of our beginner tips or first-timer tips for your trip to Punta Cana. And this is really, really important, because it really can cost you $10,000s of dollars if you don't do it. Tip number 8 is taking out travel insurance or buying travel insurance. The reason is, actually there's not a reason. For me as a travel professional, it is one of the number one things to do, is to always travel with trip insurance, or especially health insurance. Trip insurance, one can discuss depending on the value of the trip, but it also makes sense, because usually they're not expensive. They cost a couple of dollars and can insure you a trip which costs $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. But even more important is the health insurance for foreign countries. It is very, very likely that your national health insurance won't be valid in the Dominican Republic and in Punta Cana, which would mean that if you would have to go to the hospital or to the doctor, you have to pay it out of your pocket, and this can be super expensive, especially in Punta Cana. Usually a quick 10 to 15 minutes doctor visit just at your resort is $200, $300 easily, and a trip to the hospital is at least a couple of $1,000s depending on what you have. Prices are expensive in Punta Cana for healthcare, especially as they know that tourists don't have other choice. So please buy your health insurance for the Dominican Republic. There are tons of providers. I will put you a link in the comments as well where you can compare different providers, and then you can simply choose which one is the right one. They usually start really at just a couple of dollars. I don't have it here right now, but I think it's starting from $10 to $15. So please pay those couple of bucks to be on the safe side, because you never know what's happening during your vacation. You can get sick, you can have an accident, everything can happen. You never know. Basically the same thing which can happen at home can happen at vacation. So, and I think you would not live at home without insurance. So please also take the insurance for your vacation to save those couple of thousand, even $10,000s if you would have to undergo a surgery or whatever. So this is very, very important. That's it for the 8 first-timer tips. I hope it was helpful. Again, if you want to have this checklist, please just send me a message and subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much for your attention, and I'll see you for the next helpful video. And if you want to know more information about some of the topics discussed, please leave me a comment and check out the blog, as there are many things explained as well.